Hello everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday, and today we have an episode over 1 year in the making. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to rub it in for the poor Dragon Ball FighterZ fans, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, it has been announced, finally, we have a Dragon Ball FighterZ Rollback Network beta test coming up very, very soon. In fact, in just a couple of days. And the reason why I joke about the over a year in the making is that they announced they were going to put rollback into Dragon Ball FighterZ at the last Evo. Last Evo. Not just this one this past year, a couple of months ago, but literally in 2022 at Evo, they announced Dragon Ball FighterZ Rollback Edition. And then from there, it went complete radio silence. And the Dragon Ball fans were definitely very upset and very frustrated because we got no news about it. And like literally there were like websites created like how many days since the announcement, before we've gotten rollback, and people have been like, oh my God, there was like somebody retired before we got rollback in Dragon Ball. There were so many memes all over the place. So we're still not getting the actual thing, but we're getting a public beta test, at least a public beta test. Now, obviously, a lot of people are like, what took them so long? Probably it was harder than they expected, right? The rollback is not simple. Just to add in there. And in fact, who was it? Was it the Granblue team that was talking about it? That basically, when they made Granblue Fantasy versus Rising, it was just basically like they almost had to write the whole game again just to get rollback in there. I'm not sure. It was one of those games. I can't remember which one it was. But, people ask, well, how come you don't have to do that for something like King of Fighters 13 or all the games that Code Mystics has done? A lot of those games, they're smaller in size, smaller in memory, so it's easier to create save states for them, and so less expensive to create save states. And so in a lot of these 3D games here and a lot of these bigger games, it's a lot more work to actually do it. So when they announced that they were going to take on rollback, they probably thought, it should be like a year project. And it probably turned out to be far more difficult than expected. But let's go ahead and just take a look at the official announcement trailer here. So this is obviously Tomoko Hiroki, the producer of Dragon Ball FighterZ. So I will be the English out loud reader for those listening to this potentially on podcast. Hello everyone, I am Hiroki, the producer of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour 2023 and 2024 started at EVO in August. And we have finished all the power tournaments as of today's UFA. Thank you to all the players who participated in the power tournaments and to everyone who cheered enthusiastically at the event and online. Whoa, that went fast. In January, we'll be holding the finals at the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour with all of the winners of the power tournaments. I hope everyone will join us in watching the final battle to see who will become the world champion. I would like to take this opportunity to announce the upcoming public beta test. And by the way, this video was shown at UFA, and the audience reaction was palpable. Like, the people were going absolutely nuts in the audience. It was really, really cool to see. So, but yes, she says that the upcoming public beta test on Steam with the rollback implemented. First of all, we apologize for making you wait. We are very grateful to all of you who have been waiting for it. We have been working hard to build a satisfying environment. And now that we're finally ready to share with you We would like to hold a public beta test on Steam from November 30th, 2023. The beta test is available to all owners of Dragon Ball FighterZ for Steam. Please check the official website and the social media for more details on the public beta test. We look forward to your participation. The entire Dragon Ball FighterZ team is devoted to making the game more enjoyable for everyone. So thank you for your support again. Yeah, obviously a lot of people, I mean, some people in the chat are talking about this already, but you know, this public beta is not available for console owners. So a lot of console owners are sad about that. But yeah, as Anti-Mage says in the chat, France never stopped playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. So it was the best place to announce. And it was pretty cool because obviously it was the last stop on their tour. But again, Dragon Ball FighterZ finally getting updated news on the rollback. It is coming finally. The beta is starting literally in 2 days of this live Twitch broadcast on YouTube. It might literally be starting today if I get the videos up at the right time. But, you know, so interesting enough, the reason why I have this down here, because even somebody in the chat's like, I feel like adding rollback this late almost seems, oh, I see, almost like we won't be getting a DBFZ 2. Yeah, that's a really interesting concern right there. It feels weird that, yeah, they are, you know, still working so hard on this version of the game as opposed to saving it for the sequel like they did for Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. So that is one concern, but you know, as To Hollow says in the chat, the other argument is that they are testing rollback in this game so that it's ready for Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. But, you know, I have seen some people actually saying that they felt like that this is almost too little too late, you know, that the announcement, because people waited so long, etc., etc. I mean, I don't agree with that, to be honest with you. I mean, again, we've been adding rollback to older games, right? And games in the FGC, as long as you continue to support them, games don't die. And one of the beautiful things about a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ is that that game is never going to look old. That game is going to look fresh for the rest of its life. Like, it's never going to look outdated because it looks just like the cartoon. So it's never going to look outdated. So, you know, it's one of those games that I feel like, you know, as long as people keep playing it, it could be a Super Turbo. It could be a Third Strike that people just play forever. And there's really no reason to, you know, move on from the game, honestly. So I think there's no such thing as too late. I mean, think about the, you know, Exerd fans who just got rollback and how happy they were, right? I mean, that wasn't too late for them either. KOF 13 is coming out now with rollback, and KOF 13 fans are happy. Hell, I could even blend this in here right now. Killer Instinct is getting a patch. This is a patch updated. They're updating the game 10 years after the game's release. And I don't think that that's going to be considered too late. Yeah, Melee getting Slippy. People are certainly happy about that. And you know, I don't think there's such a thing as having it too late. And as people have mentioned, France never stopped playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. There's a lot of people who are still big fans of the game and they just can't play it online. Right? And that's the rough part. So getting the rollback even this later after the announcement. And again, I know I just have sympathy and empathy for everybody. So, you know, the fact that, you know, it probably was a lot harder for the devs than the devs thought. And so I actually just feel for them. They probably were like, crap. Oh, this is way harder than we thought. We probably should have waited to announce this. But, you know, they wanted to get people excited. They wanted to get people happy for it. Unfortunately, it kind of backfired because people started losing patience. But as a result, like I said, I think that we should all be happy that here we finally got the update. Here's the game. And I think that's really, really, really great honestly, that the game is getting rollback. I mean, I still argue that Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4 needs a rollback edition. That game needs rollback edition. I don't know if Capcom would even bother trying to do it, because it would probably be a lot harder for Street Fighter 4 than we think it's going to be, because the game wasn't built for it. So it'll probably take a lot more work, and it probably doesn't have the ease, unless they hire Code Mystics, because maybe they could use their Exerd knowledge for actually, didn't the Exerd rollback, was that in-house or was that Code Mystics that did that? I think that was in-house. But in any case, you know, I do think Ultra Street Fighter 4 would be really cool to have a rollback edition. Yeah, so it was in-house. It was in-house. So I don't know, maybe Capcom could hire them to do it for Ultra Street Fighter 4, because people hire Arxis for everything these days. But yeah, I mean, I think rollback is important, and basically almost every game that we really care about has some form of rollback now, except for Street Fighter 4, right? I mean, most of the old games have rollback implemented now. Like the latest Blaze Blue has it now. Even Guilty Gear Xrd, Guilty Gear XX has rollback, you know. Dude, like all the old games, you can get rollback on Fightcade. So it's just, we're at a point right now where just about any fighting game that you want to play, you can find a way to play it with rollback. So honestly, it's, oh yeah, okay, so Tekken maybe not, but I don't know what's going on with Tekken 8. I'm not going to say that it doesn't have rollback, but doesn't feel like the rollback that we want, but that's a whole nother story. Soul Calibur 6 rollback, oh, that would be nice. Oh, that would be nice. Then I might actually I could actually stream Soul Calibur sessions again. I mean, even VF has rollback on some of the old versions, right? Like you can play VF3 and VF2 on Fightcade, if I'm not mistaken, with rollback. Obviously, it's just the modern version of the game that doesn't have the rollback. What are the chances of guest characters in Street Fighter 6? I don't think they're high, and I don't think they need them, to be honest with you. I think Street Fighter 6 would be weird with guest characters. I'm not sure if I really feel like I need them. If there are guest characters, I would hope that they are definite hardcore fighting game characters. You know, like Terry Bogard or a Jin Kazama or something like that. I wouldn't want like some weird random movie comic book character or something like that. So, but again, Street Fighter has never really been one of too many guest characters. So, you know, I wouldn't mind if they didn't put any guest characters in Street Fighter. And on top of that, you know, yeah, actually, you know what? I do want a guest character. I do want a guest character in Street Fighter. You know which guest character I want? I want Saddam. I want Saddam from Final Fight to be a guest character in Street Fighter 6. I want Crimson Viper of Street Fighter 4 to be a guest character. There's so many classic characters in Street Fighter that I feel like if they added a guest character, it would be wasting a slot that we could use for a character like Sea Viper, like for Saddam, like for Geki, for Eagle, for, you know, there's so many characters that you could actually put in the game that would elicit similar kinds of reactions to being guest characters. But yeah, so I'm really happy for the Dragon Ball fans out there. I mean, I put that out on social media, and literally one of the first responses I get is, a year and a half after announcement is too late. We don't care anymore. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, there's plenty of people out there who care. And I think that's really cool. So I hope it goes well. I hope the rollback is really good, because I know, like, Samurai Showdown is another game that's been languishing as well. They're in eternal beta trying to make the rollback work, but you can see how much work that they've been putting into the game to try to make it work. Dude, it's not that easy just to stick rollback in there. As I've explained to people, rollback is not just something that you're just like, unplug this rollback engine and plug in the new rollback engine. That's not how it works. Rollback requires a lot of internal, it needs to basically put its fingers into everything, because it needs to be able to save state, roll back, and then decide what to do in odd situations where rollback does occur. How does it handle lighting or a hit spark, or how does it handle this? Unless you can get just a hardcore state save, you have to build in a lot more intelligence around the rollback, which is what makes it tricky. Has any mainline Street Fighter game had any guest characters? No, I don't think so. But yeah, so excited for Dragon Ball FighterZ fans. I really hope it comes out well. And I really hope that this brings in a lot more players and revives a lot of the old school players. And, I really hope that they announce another year of the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour. And I hope they continue to support this game and keep up at it. Even if we don't get another new Dragon Ball game. I mean, look at what the Killer Instinct scene. I've talked to some of the Killer Instinct guys before and asked them, do you want a new Killer Instinct, or do you guys enjoy your Killer Instinct so much that maybe all you'd care about is a new patch and new characters to your existing game? And a lot of the KI players were like, I kind of just want patches and new characters to the existing game. Like, they weren't sitting there clamoring for a new game. And, that's kind of how sports works, right? You stay with the one game. You don't need a new game all the time, which is why I asked the Project L guys, like League of Legends, they've never had a League of Legends 2. So is Project L ever going to have a sequel, or are they going to just try to keep building it like they did Project L? Obviously, they couldn't answer that question because they probably haven't really made that decision yet. But, maybe that's something, a path that games like Killer Instinct and Dragon Ball FighterZ can just go down. Just keep enhancing the existing game, and I think that would be kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, if they added guest characters to Street Fighter V, yeah, I guess Akira would be the closest one. But, Sakura was in rival schools. They're all kind of part of the same universe already anyhow, so... But yeah, give the old game a new coat of paint good enough. And like I said, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a game that's never going to really need a new coat of paint. I don't see how that game could ever start looking outdated. Like, I feel like 10 years from now, Dragon Ball FighterZ is going to look just as good as it always has. Like, I just don't know that if it could ever look better than it already does, honestly. So, and KI was already an amazing looking game. So that game doesn't even look outdated right now, because it was hardcore designed to be for the current console, the Xbox One, I should say, the previous console generation. So, but you meant a new coat of paint like Rollback, Netcode, or better lobbies. Yeah, that works too. But yeah, I really feel like Dragon Ball FighterZ could just keep going with this, and we'll see what they do. Fighting games, of course, that's all we feel like we would need is just, sequels. But, if you like the characters already and they're really cool, why? Why not just keep with the characters that you have and just be excited and add new characters, right? And just keep enhancing with. Obviously, fighting games get kind of crazy. What a lot of people don't realize is that it's healthy for fighting games to reset down to 18 characters because it's easier for people to get into. Like, if you wanted to get into Street Fighter V right now, you have to learn 44 matchups. And that's like 48 matchups, I think, now. And that's just like, oh, God, there's just so much. It's too intimidating. So sometimes it is nice that way, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, in my opinion. So, I feel like games like Killer Instinct and Dragon Ball could just kind of keep going the way they are. And I think it would be fine, so... Smash needs a roster trim, right? There's way too many characters in that thing. Jesus. But that's all I really have to say about that. I don't think it's too late. I think it's cool. I think we should be excited for the Dragon Ball fans. Again, I don't even play Dragon Ball Fighters, but you know, I just want to be happy for all the different communities out there, man. I want to be happy for Dragon Ball Fighters. I want to be happy for Killer Instinct. And you know what? I mean, let's just talk about Killer Instinct here, because I feel like this is all kind of related anyway. So yeah, Killer Instinct just announced a 10th anniversary patch. Keats did another live patch reading where he talked about the patch notes, and yeah, they're taking this patching very seriously, because some characters didn't even get any changes, and the list of characters that didn't get any changes was much larger than I expected. There's like 6 or 7 or 8 characters that got no changes that they felt like were in a good position, and then they nerfed and buffed a few other characters, like I know for sure 10 characters who didn't get any changes. I know, for example, Rash has been considered extremely strong for a very long time, so I know Rash got nerfed a little bit, you know, and again, Keats has been very good with the balance, so I didn't look through the details of the balance notes patches because I wouldn't understand the context of them as well. But I think that that's really, really cool that they actually patched it 10 years later. And now the Killer Instinct fans are all so excited about that. And literally the game just came out today. So the anniversary edition for Killer Instinct came out today, remastered to be truly 4K, I think it was, and with the patch notes in there. And so, yeah, if you're a fan of Killer Instinct, you basically kind of got a shot in the arm for your community here. And I think that that's really, really cool. Microsoft now owns Blizzard, so we can get Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, and Diablo characters in a new KI. And again, why a new KI? Why not add them to the existing KI? Like, why start all over again? I mean, especially a game like Killer Instinct, where the game mechanics are so finely tuned to be exactly how it should work. Like, if we made a new Killer Instinct, do you want them to change the breaker system? Do you want them to change the way a lot of the game systems work? I don't think you do. Like, again, the counter breakers and combo breakers and the auto doubles and all the ways that everything works, and the way that, you know, Iron Galaxy tweaked everything so that the lights were less reactable, but then the heavies were, like, all that stuff. Like, what new systems would you want to add to KI? What new system could possibly enhance this game to you know, make it feel different enough from the previous game? Or would you just want it to be like Tekken and have it be like 90% the same, but now instead of bound, I have spiral attacks, you know, kind of thing? You know, maybe that's what you want, honestly. But, you know, KI has just never been a game that struck me as something that I feel like needs to have an update to it. Like, new characters, and especially because the characters are so crazy enough in the game as it is, I really don't feel like the game really needs an update, you know? I just feel like the game can exist exactly as it is, and you just keep adding new characters. And again, like, if you just, like Black Tiger says, yeah, just add some mechanics, but what? What mechanic? I don't know how you could possibly add a mechanic to the game without over bloating the game, because every character has their own mechanics as they are. Aghanos is a mechanic, you know, as a character. Ancient Crystal asks, is KI a good fighting game? It's a very, very good fighting game. It is something that is definitely will, you know, be dependent on your taste for things. But the way it's designed, it is a very good fighting game. It is a very complicated fighting game. And it is a fighting game that makes you tired because you can never stop thinking, even when you are getting hit. Like, it's the most mentally active fighting game that I may have ever played in my life. Because even when you're attacking, even when you start doing your combos, you can't muscle memory your combos anymore. When you get hit by the enemy's combos, you can't stop paying attention and just waiting for the combo to end. The whole game is constantly like, okay, I gotta change this combo, make this harder. Should I do a light auto double or should I do a heavy? Is he gonna do this? Should I try to break this or should I let him? Maybe he'll try to bait him into a counter breaker, even though I'm not gonna go for it. Dude, the game just completely makes you mentally tired. Like, you are constantly thinking in that game because of the way that the system is designed. And that's why I don't feel like you could add any mechanics to it, because I feel like that would just make the game so overloaded that you would actually just go crazy. And yeah, and it's still amazing for noobs because there's a ton of very beginner friendly ways to play the games. Like there's modern control modes in the game that make the combos very, very easy to do. Yeah, and Hammered Wookie says, I have mad respect for top level KI players, because you're 100% right. Absolutely. That's kind of the way that it goes, dude. That game is, oh boy. That game is, I mean, I tried to play it, and then after a while I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the back burner for me, because it was too mentally taxing for me. But that is one of the things that the KI fans love about it. It is a game that really, really forces you to think constantly, and like the entire time you're playing it, it's a mix-up. And it's really tricky. And the crazy thing is, you know, a lot of people don't like the idea of a combo breaker, because you're like, well, I worked so hard landing the hit. Why do I now have to guess when I actually land my combo? It's so stupid, right? Like, why should I? So the reason why it doesn't feel bad in KI is because every character is so broken. Every character is so cheap in the game. Like, if you put them in any other game without combo breakers, you'd just be like, this is the dumbest game ever, because, like, I can't block anything. I literally can't block anything. Like, this is impossible. Like, this character is absolutely insane. So because they knew you had the backup combo breaker ability, they could make the characters broken. And that's one of the joys of the game. If you like that kind of fighting game where all the characters feel powerful, that's Killer Instinct. That's modern Killer Instinct right there. So yeah, the biggest weakness of Killer Instinct was that it was on beta on Xbox One forever, and only ever got finally released on Steam or the Windows game for Windows like years later, you know. But yeah, it is available on Steam now. It is available on Game for Windows. The hard part is that Steam can't play crossover. But games for Windows can cross over to the Xbox One. They can play cross-platform, but Steam cannot. And that is one of the problems right now. But with this update, I'm not sure how it's going to work. So, but yeah, I mean, the people who love KI for a reason, because that game is just, it's so crazy. Like I said, every character in there just makes you, like, it's one of those games where you feel like every character is cheap, and you're just like, I don't even know how they even let them get away with this. And every character is very different too. Like, you talk about Aghanos, you talk about General Ram, you talk about, you know, they all have like 3 fighting game mechanics in one character. Like, you think like, oh, okay, Aghanos has this crazy armor thing. Oh, he also can build walls. Oh, and he can knock you through multiple walls and it does more damage. Oh, he also has, like, he just has like, there's like 4 mechanics for every character that are unique to that character. And so it's just, there's a lot of depth in the game. There's a lot of fun in that game. It can feel intimidating, but again, for the players who dedicate to Killer Instinct, it's very, 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 very worth it. I bought the Steam version on Cyber Monday before the anniversary update. Didn't find out Windows Xbox was better until after I bought it. But I do have Game Pass, so I have both platforms. There you go. That's good. That's good. But yeah, so check that out if you guys get a chance. But kind of tying in with the rollback beta concept of is it too late? Like, it's never too late. again, when the Exerd fans got their rollback, they were all cheering. Killer Instinct has always been the paragon of rollback. Even before rollback became more popular, it was one of the first major fighting games to get rollback, and their rollback has always been some of the best rollback in the business. And yeah, 10 years later, it's getting another patch, and you know, I don't think the Killer Instinct fans could be, you know, I don't think that there's a single disappointed person out there. Even the Rash players out there, I think, know how good Rash was and probably deserved some nerfs. So they're probably not even that mad about it, to be honest with you. So yeah, the Windows Store version has full crossplay with the console on ranked, as I mentioned. So Steamed rank is separate from everybody else. Can you play casual crossplay? Can you play casual on Steam? Like, could you create lobbies and play with other players on Steam? Oh, you can? Oh, okay. So, in other words, if you have the Steam version, you can still play with your friends on the other platforms. You just can't play ranked with them. That makes... Okay, there you go. Thank you guys for the clarification out there. Thank you, because I never got that straight once it all came out, because I was like, I don't even know, games for Windows, whatever, Steam, whatever. This is before I actually gamed on PC. Yeah. But, so yeah, look, just like when Exerd got the rollback announcement, you know, I said, like, a lot of guys like Pat the Flip and Coquette and all those guys who do work so hard keeping Guilty Gear Exerd alive, you know, they were ecstatic, right? When the Dragon Ball network test got announced, if you watch the footage from UFA, the players were ecstatic. You know, the Killer Instinct fan base right now are so excited to play this game. Fighting games don't get old. Fighting games don't get old. I'm sorry. Like, it just doesn't happen. Fighting games are like the genre that are like, if it's fun, it stays fun. Like, it never gets to the point where you feel like, you know, something feels out of date about this game. Like, Super Turbo is still fun. Vampire Savior is still fun. Third Strike is still fun. MVC2 is still fun. Sailor Moon on the Super Nintendo is still fun. TMNT Tournament Fighters on the SNES is still fun. You know, it's like fighting games don't get old. And so even though it's 10 years later for KI, or a year and a half after the rollback announcement for Dragon Ball FighterZ, or Exerd getting rollback years later, Blaze Blue finally getting rollback, BB Tag getting rollback, and even XX Accent Core Plus R getting rollback, like all the KOF games getting rollback, right? Rollback for KOF 11, please. You know, a new edition of KOF 11 with rollback, please. Like, doing all of that stuff will always be worth it, because no matter what, fighting games do not get old. And it's just the truth. It's just the truth, right? The fighting games that were fun a long time ago, yes, they may not look graphically as intense, but like, they're just as fun as they've ever been, man. Seriously. So, yeah, support fighting games, and as long as you keep playing them, there's life to be breathed in fighting games. So there you go. Make sure you keep playing your fighting games. Make sure you keep playing your favorite fighting games, because as long as you show support for it, look at the kind of stuff that you get out of it. Look at the benefits you reap from it. So it's very, very cool. Anti-Mage, they're already announcing that, right? KOF 13, they're literally releasing the rollback version, right? It's already been announced. KOF 13's already getting rollback. So, I think I still have the CD, the Killer Cuts. Oh, it's only on console right now? There's nothing about Steam. Ah, okay. That's odd. That's like backwards. That's really backwards. That's funny. Okay. Huh. Very weird. Very weird. But there you go. That's all I have to say about that. So, yeah, keep playing your fighting games, dude, man. This community is so unique and it's so fascinating, and I love this community. It makes it very hard because literally our genre has too many good games to play. Too many. I just retweeted something about Tatsunoko versus Capcom recently, and God, I wish more people were playing that game as well. But you know, there's just the fighting games are great, and they're so, they never get old, man. They just don't get old. So you never know what is going to happen for a game you support out there, like an Exert, like a Killer Instinct. So keep it up, keep playing those fighting games, no matter how old they get. So thank you guys for tuning in. I think that'll be it on the YouTube and on the Twitch side. So thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you guys continue to watch this content. Again, if you enjoy the content, please let me know on Twitter so that I can retweet it, as you know, like people saying like, oh hey, you know, like testimonials, like for movies, like, oh, James Chen's content is some of the best content in the FGC. Gene Shalit of the New York Report, you know, like just or leave comments below if you like the content here, and I'll just copy and paste your comments into Twitter as well. So again, appreciate you guys for the continued support. And the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.